What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of TECSpertZ. We're back again with the crew, and we had a not-so-fun weekend of baseball, not at all what we were hoping for. We lost our series 2-1 against UTSA. Gentlemen, what are our thoughts about this series?
Well, you know, is what it is.
Yeah.
You want to get that?
Oh, yeah, before we get in, I'm sorry, before we get started, I can't forget the most important part of our show. TECSpertZ is a collaboration between the East Carolinan and WZMB 91.3 FM Greenville. And we would like to thank the Big Vape Theory and ECU Baseball for sponsoring today's podcast.
Thank you.
All right, now back into our thoughts about this weekend.
I didn't want to
series.
get too deep into it. We got to.
I do appreciate that. I
completely
completely slipped my mind. Sponsor, we did not forget about you. We're still very thankful for you. But what are our thoughts about this weekend series against UTSA?
We couldn't really get going at the start of games. Like, Savage the last two series, it just seemed like he couldn't really get going at the beginning, and that kind of hurt us. UTSA really got out strong offensively, and we just couldn't really get back into it.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that the pitching this kind of weekend was kind of like, we just couldn't find our groove that we usually have. We gave around, I think it was like 20 runs over the 3 games we played, and that's shocking. I feel like it's more like an anomaly, though. I don't think it's something that's going to be a concern going forward, but I was just shocked, honestly.
Yeah. I think just getting into conference play is a lot more competitive, stiffer competition because we've been playing teams like Columbia, no offense. But, and I mean, just not like an eye-opener or a rude awakening. It's just like it's the first of many and just getting into a groove.
Well, I would like to remind us that, let's say it's unfortunately we lost the first weekend of conference play, but we also lost first weekend of conference play last year too. Like does not mean that this is over by any means.
Yeah, we're also trying to.
Well, we would love to be better than last weekend.
Last year, I'm talking about.
Last year. We would love to get to Omaha, but maybe this is kind of one thing I also wanted to point out though. Riley Johnson did not play due to a shoulder injury. Yeah. Do you think that was a big impact? Had a big impact on how we played this weekend?
I mean, maybe just like, I don't know, somebody having to step up and not being comfortable in that spot, but I think we do have a lot of depth to where it's not that big of a deal if a guy like him is not in there, but then again, you never know.
Right, yeah, I think they could have missed this person just a little bit, but like you said, we have the depth going forward that hopefully it won't be a problem, and I hope that shoulder does heal up for sure. But it was just one of those series where, like I said earlier, it's just like a kind of anomaly with conference play being tougher than the previous competition we got against, so it's just one of those things.
For sure. No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, you saw guys like Bristol Carter definitely step up and make plays where they needed to, and they were able to kind of step into that role. Riley Johnson being our leadoff guy definitely hurts when he goes down. You have to have somebody step up. Bristol Carter being the freshman definitely did that. And how about Ryan McChrystal this past weekend too? Yeah, Ryan McChrystal definitely stepped up and basically filled his role. I didn't even know who he was going into this year, and now he's absolutely just killing it. He's in the bottom of the lineup, and he's making contact almost every single time at bat, and it's absolutely awesome. Transitioning from this weekend into last night's game against UNCW, we swept the midweek series against UNCW 2-0. Finished our game last night at home. We let them get up strong early, 4-0, and then we came back, scored 7 unanswered to win 7-4 against UNCW. What are our thoughts about last night's game?
I'm really impressed with the bullpen. And, I mean, obviously the bats staying like they are, staying hitting. And, just the bullpen very impressive. Yeah. Getting into this stretch of the season.
Yeah, you just love to see, especially going down early and finding ways to claw way back in. I think that's a way to kind of like overcome adversity, especially with tougher teams going down the line and finding a way to okay, we've been there before. Yeah. We know how to find a way to come back. We have the bullpen to be able to do so. So it was impressive. I was very happy with the result that we got for sure.
Also, Joey Barini. Nice.
Joey Barini, yes, very nice. And how about that home run by Chaz Myers too?
Yeah.
That thing was a thing of beauty coming off the bat. I was actually in the ballpark. It went right over my head, and I went in the jungle. I was also wasn't even on the fence too. I was pretty far back. That thing was in the trees. Thing was fantastic ball. Chaz Myers hit first home run of the year for Chaz Myers. What a beauty it was too.
Shout out.
But 7-4. We won last night. Midweek games, we're starting to pick that up now. We struggled in the midweek games early on in the year. We're starting to pick it up. Do you think that's a sign of what's more to come? Do you think we're starting to grow as a team and more to come?
Yeah, I mean, those struggles early on, we played pretty good teams, and then that ODU game with the weather, the rain and the wind. those were some hard ones to drop, but like Campbell, that's a stiff competition. We normally struggle against Campbell. So,
Yeah.
I mean, early on I get this struggling in the midweek games, but now it seems like we've gotten, I don't know, momentum on Tuesdays, and it's just nice to see, especially beating an in-state rival.
Yeah, honestly, you took the words right out of my mouth, but pretty much, you love to see like the progression of how we started and how we went, and then going forward, especially with tougher games coming up for the midday weeks, just finding a way to win those games and then take care of them going into the next weekends that we have. So yeah, for sure.
Duke's coming up too, right?
You said we got Duke coming up in a few weeks here.
Do we play next Tuesday? Who we play
I can't remember off the top of my head who we got next Tuesday, actually. Yes, I don't have. I know we got this weekend.
I know Duke is sometime in April.
Yeah, we do have Duke, and that'll be a huge series right
Yeah.
now. Currently, they're number 1 in the state. What are speaking of? Let's go ahead. What are our expectations going into Duke whenever we play them?
Like you said, they're the best team in the state, but like just seeing them lose to Ryder, and I get like that's just a one-off. That's an anomaly, like he said earlier, from Duke. But I mean, we're the Pirates.
We're the Pirates.
You know, we have. I mean, this is like our time to shine in sports because basketball is always a disappointment. Football, it's up and down. So I mean, really just want to see us dominate those in-state rivals like we did with UNCW. Hopefully, we can do with state. We did it with Carolina. Let's knock off Duke. I don't really have expectations. It's hopeful. I'm hopeful that we can compete against a very good team.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're able to like where we are at with our baseball program now to be able to say, oh, we can compete with the teams like the North Carolinas, like, you know, the Dukes, the NC States, our in-state rival, even hopefully Wake Forest at some point too, if we get a chance to play them. Being able to like be in that conversation with those type of teams, man, that it's a good feeling. And if we are able to win, you know, at least 1 off, 2 off, maybe possibly to beat them, that'd be great, honestly.
Absolutely. It would bring us a lot of good positive recognition from just the baseball community itself. I mean, we already got a lot of positive recognition. We got a lot when we beat UNC here.
Yeah.
That was one of the best I've seen. The recognition we got from the UNC weekend was absolutely incredible. If we can knock off Duke, we can knock off NC State. I think that's really going to help us out in the recognition world. Make sure people know who we are. But hey, yeah, we might be a group of 5 school playing baseball, but hey, you know what? We deserve this top 15 ranking.
Yeah.
And okay, actually another thing that just came to my mind. We fell from number 10 to number 15 from the UTSA series loss. Do you think that was a fair drop off? You think we should be a little higher? Should we be lower? You think 15's about fair?
I mean, I don't really know what happened all else in the top 25 of college baseball, so I can't really judge it that unbiasedly. But I don't think it's that big of a like. We did lose to UTSA. It was under 500, I do believe.
Yes.
So 10 to 15, it's not that big of a drop off. And I mean, maybe it should have been 13 or something, but I don't think it's unfair.
Yeah, we're in a good spot where it's pretty early in the season where we'll lose early games. Going down the line, I think we'll be a little bit more composed in winning the games that we will against teams that are under 500 or close to it. 15 is still fine, especially with how the way some things have shaked out in the top 25. So we should be good.
Yeah, I think 15 is pretty fair ranking myself.
Yeah.
I do agree. I think 15 is a pretty fair ranking. UTSA, there's no excuses for that one. We should have beaten UTSA. There is no excuses why we should.
Especially with how difficult it looked, like just to claw back into the game and still.
Well, that seemed to be a theme of all 4 games this past week. Is we got down early and we had to claw our way back in. Even against UNCW last night, we went down 4-0. Chris Collar had his struggles pitching. Speaking of, do you still trust Chris Collar pitching the midweek games, starting off with the struggles he just had? Even though he's been good all year long, or do you think this is something that we just need to be like, all right, we had some better success from Jackson DiLorenzo, from Danny Beal. Do you think we should maybe stick with them?
I don't really see Danny Beal as much of a starter, but
fair.
I think, I mean, it's not like been that terrible from him, so I mean, let's not just yank him immediately. Let's see. But if stuff like that does continue, let's go with DiLorenzo or somebody like that. But Wyatt Lunsford-Shankman last night.
Wyatt Lunsford-Shankman
coming in last night was
fantastic last night.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, he was pretty great. And the fact that we do have some depth that we could try to play around with the option for the starting rotation around, that is definitely something that you could look at if he does kind of tail off in the season.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't, like you guys, I wouldn't change anything really right now for him. Let him get his confidence building, find a couple of more midday, starts to get him a little bit going, and then see what he can do from there.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. I just wanted to get your opinion on that because I've seen a few people who were not who are not in Chris Collar's favor right now. I'm like, now wait a minute. This guy's been good all year long. I like Chris Collar a lot. He had an off game. Everybody has off games. I mean, Trey Savage just had one on Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't see anybody calling for his head.
No.
So it's when everybody has off games.
Like, baseball is our bread and butter
Yes.
at ECU. So, I mean, I'm not that passionate of a baseball fan. I don't
Sure.
really even like baseball. But I understand from a fan's perspective in other sports, like, you want your team to win every single time, and if one flub happens from one guy, you're like, get him out.
Get him out, yeah.
Get him out because we want perfection. We want to see the greatest possible for our team. But I think you should just stick with the guy.
No, absolutely. Could not agree more. I do like what we've got with the pitching rotation right now. I really got to get my hats off to Cliff Godwin on this one.
Yeah.
The way he is managing our pitchers right now, I think he's handling it beautifully. I really do. We got a weekend series against UAB coming up. It was supposed to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but they just moved Thursday's game to a doubleheader on Friday now. So it's just Friday, 2 games on Friday, and then the Saturday game. What are our expectations going against UAB? It's all at home this time.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. But expectations, I don't think with conference play getting started, we should be expecting sweeps.
Yeah.
But I do think we should expect to win the series.
Yeah.
Going into conference play, because with the realignment of the American, I think it's more competitive for us. But I still think we're the top dogs in the conference.
Oh, easily.
I mean, we are still the top dogs
Easily.
in the conference. So, yeah, losing last week to the series, it's inexcusable, I'd say, and we need to get right back on track against UAB.
Yeah, and I think it will be a bounce back series that we have against them. With the doubleheader, kind of makes it a little bit more complicated. Maybe they might drop one of those games, but we should still be able to take care of business.
I think the doubleheader favors us.
I agree. I think the doubleheader will favor us in the sense of we'll start warming up, and then it's like, all right, you've got us for another 9 innings right after this.
Especially with the way we've played these last 4 games.
Oh, yeah.
Starting off struggling and then
heating up towards the end. I agree. I think the doubleheader actually is in favor of us for that. I couldn't agree more. The only thing is, I understand. I agree with what you're saying about we shouldn't expect.
Yeah, my expectation. I'm not saying it's
we
not going
should
to happen.
not expect sweeps. I think ECU needs to come out and make a statement this week against UAB.
And that doubleheader helps us with the sweep.
It does.
Yeah, I was just saying expectations.
Sure. I wouldn't put my money on the sweep.
Let's rein it in.
I would not put my money on the sweep. However, if you're asking for my total thoughts on this, I think ECU makes a statement this weekend. I think we sweep UAB this weekend. I really do. And I think I understand conference play, but we need to make a statement. We need to prove, hey, we're still one of the top dogs in baseball. We're still one of the best teams. Give us the respect we deserve. All right, you guys. Do you have any closing remarks?
Bobby Pettiford entered the portal. I don't really think that's.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
no.
that was like 30 minutes before we went on.
Oh, really?
I don't really think that's that big of a deal. He did not really perform that well later in the season.
Yeah.
No.
Or at least up to his expectations. Bringing that word back. And Julius Woods, that's his name, the safety.
Yes. Yeah.
He had a good pro day, I heard.
Yeah.
And he's going to Las Vegas for the Raiders for a top 30 visit, so that's pretty nice.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, not too much, honestly, for the closeout marks. Just hope we win against UAB for sure. Take care of business, y'all.
Absolutely.
TCB.
Let's take care of business against UAB. But yeah, no, I did not know Bobby Pettiford hit the transfer portal. It is a little unfortunate. You're right.
Yeah.
He did not live up to expectations towards the later half of the year. But in the beginning, I tell you what, Bobby Pettiford, he gave us hope. He gave us a lot of hope in the beginning of the year.
That miracle shot?
That miracle shot against Kennesaw State.
Son.
Miracle shot against Kennesaw State was incredible.
As long as RJ comes back, I think it can at least be exactly like last season.
Yeah.
Or this past season.
We'll stay consistent, you know.
Yeah.
We'll be an 8 and 9 seed in the American. Maybe knock off the first team and then lose the number 1.
I'm excited to see Schwartz's work in the portal and recruiting, but yeah, I don't really think anything is negatively affecting us. It's kind of just like, all right, 14, 15 wins. That's really all you got.
That's what we're expecting from basketball, at least at this moment, anyway. Michael Schwartz, hope you kill it in the transfer portal. Please help us out in basketball. We need you. But all right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of TECSpertZ. We'll be right back here again next week, so make sure you stay tuned for that episode. And until next time, go Pirates.